What's going on, everybody? It's me, the Beastly Gamer. I'm just fresh out of the shower. And when I go in my shower, I listen to my speaker. It's called the G-Boom. It's super loud. It's like taking a nightclub around with you. So I use it in the bathroom, and I connect my phone to it, and I listen to YouTube. Whatever comes up on my feed when I'm taking my nice, hot, steamy shower. And so today, I'm in the shower, and I hear kind of a news video come on. And they start talking about someone who's very well known in YouTube, Alex Jones. And they say something that I just cannot believe. Apparently the tech sector, which is Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and Apple, have decided to remove Alex Jones' content, remove him from their platforms totally, remove his accounts. Couldn't believe it. And so I had to get my iPad out and look for Alex Jones. And apparently he has been ousted. I watched Paul Joseph Watson's video on it. He made one a little while ago. That Alex Jones has been pretty much screwed by the technocrats. And so I know a lot of people with a particular political leaning are probably really happy. A lot of people are under the mindset, and you might be right. I'm not saying that any of you are wrong, that Alex Jones has maybe gone too far, saying some of the things that he said. Let me remove this phone. It vibrates so loud. But Alex Jones may have gone too far. You're talking about the children of Sandy Hook. He's on numerous occasions, which I happen to believe, said that 9/11 was not the story that we were told by the mainstream media or government officials. It totally wasn't. Guess my channel's next. And so, I ask you, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Is it a good thing that technocrats, unelected people who actually have monopolies in the tech sector, have apparently conspired and gotten together to alienate a particular mindset or belief system? Alex Jones is a right-leaning commentator and what people would consider independent media. He's built his own brand, millions of subscribers. Many people respect the man. Personally, my personal experience with Alex Jones has been this. I was red-pilled years ago. I used to be a Democrat. I voted for Barack Obama 2 times. Thank God it wasn't 3. Oh. I voted for Obama. I believed in the hope. Hope. Yes, we can. Nobody ever asked, can what? But I believed that the hypnosis that the black community was under by seeing this guy go up there and speak like a car salesman and sell no goods. And I was red-pilled. I was red-pilled by many people over the years that helped open my eyes to the truth of the Democratic Party. A bunch of racists. I'm not going to call every Democrat a racist because that's what Democrats do. But the party of the KKK actually created the KKK. When you look at the politicians of the left, they deal in primarily race politics. The Democratic Party is so lost now that they're going socialist. It's really sad to see what's happening to them. But I was red-pilled years ago. And I listened to Alex Jones maybe, 10 years ago. I'd listened to some of the things he was saying because there was no one else out there who was doing what he was doing. And it was really a new experience to hear someone tell an inconvenient or possible truth that conflicted so much with the mainstream media, what we were used to hearing. And it was refreshing, especially once you saw that some of the things he was saying was actually coming true. And that people were actually validating, the information that he was dispensing to the people, his base. And some of the stuff is crap. I still love the Dragon Ball Z Alex Jones video. And he turned a Super Saiyan. I thought that was a great video. But is this a bad thing? Is this a good thing? Who decides what speech is protected and what speech isn't? Do the technocrats? We all know that the tech sector, Silicon Valley, is heavily liberal. Google, Facebook, these are liberal organizations. They push forward very liberal agendas inside these organizations, and if you have a conflicting point of view, usually you're targeted and ousted immediately. And so if they're the ones who decide what speech is protected, then that means you have to jump in line with their ideology in order to use their platforms. Alex Jones might be the biggest dummy on earth. He might be a prolific speaker. He might be a man who has information that could change the world. Who am I to say? But to remove his ability to say it, to remove his ability to convey his perspective, I think flies against our Constitution as Americans. There's no such thing as hate speech. That is such a snowflakey thing to say. If I say I hate you, is that hate speech? If I say I hate your cooking, is that hate speech? If I call you a fucking bitch, is that hate speech? All speech is protected. Everything, every word a person says is protected speech under our Constitution. A bunch of virtual signaling sensitive people want to go out there and stand on a pedestal and say that they are the ones who decide what speech is protected and what isn't. All speech is protected. I've been called a nigger before in my life. Many times when I was younger. I think the last time I was called, let me just say N-word. It'll make you think of nigger. But I was called a nigger, I think 8 years ago. It was the last time. By a guy who was across the street holding an apple. And he pretended he was going to throw the apple, then he ran down the street. True story. It's a protected speech. I can't call a cop and say, hey man, some little white guy just called me a nigger. What are you going to do about it? It's protected. What is not protected is violence. Like what Antifa does. Antifa will go out there and if you say, hey look, I'm a Republican. I believe that I have a right to have a gun. I feel bad for what's happening in these schools, but removing guns from these schools or removing people who can protect the children is a bad idea. And an Antifa guy looks at you and smacks you in the head with a bike lock. That isn't protected. If you're on the back of a truck and you say I'm a Trump supporter and someone yanks you out the back of the truck because they're Antifa, that's not protected. Speech is protected. So what happens now? What is going to happen to our country now that to me, the first kind of pulling the rug from under me was E.T. Williams, who is another. He's really on the right. He's very, very far right. And I listened to him for his comedic. I like the guy, and he's a comedian, and he says a few of the things that I agree with, maybe in a much more colorful term. But E.T. Williams, a doctor of common sense, he made videos on YouTube, and they targeted him and removed his channel. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. Man, if he was like Alex Jones, they would never remove him because Alex Jones has millions of subscribers. Now, apparently now, the technocrats have decided that they are the speech police. And if you say things that hurt feelings or that they deem offensive, then your account can be removed. Now, Alex Jones says some things that a lot of people would say are, you cross the line. To me, some things are, there are some things you can say that can really push a line. But I think it's all protected. That's me because I believe in our Constitution. They say Alex Jones, he said, Sandy Hook didn't happen. That a lot of these kids, there was no actual murders, and all these people were crisis actors, and there's a lot of evidence to kind of substantiate or back up his claim. There's probably a lot of evidence that refutes his claim as well. But as a critical thinking person, if you look at both, you just can't say I know for sure. I mean, personal story. I saw a video of one of the fathers of one of the slain children from Sandy Hook laughing in front of the camera. He's laughing and talking to people. And then when they were about to go live, he's like, I want to tell you about Emily. I was like, what the hell is going on? This dude is awesome. Actor. To me, there are such things as crisis actors. Look it up. It's a real job where a huge community of people get together in certain neighborhoods, stage what looks like catastrophes, where their bodies splayed out, blood everywhere, and they act out the scene. If that's an actual job, you have to ask what it's actually for. Critical thinking. Now, I'm not saying that Sandy Hook didn't happen. I just think it's a strange circumstance when there's only one ambulance that was far away from the school. No one ever saw any body bags being removed from the school. You got parents acting really shady on television. And I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. I wasn't there. I only know what the media says, and I know what alternative news says about it. There are a lot of people out there who, mostly on the right, who say this is a fishy situation. I think it looks fishy. I have 5 kids. If any of them passed away, and within a few days, if I'm doing a news conference, you wouldn't be able to get a smile out of me. I'd be devastated. So I don't know if it's just, maybe it's his way of dealing with things. I don't know. But another thing that Alex Jones said that people were so upset about was 9/11 was an inside job. Now, I don't know if what happened on September 11th was necessarily an inside job. But it damn sure wasn't what they told us in the media. That a group of Muslim men with box cutters decided to go on a rampage, hijack 3 planes, take over the planes and fly them to specific spots in North America with the intentions of thermonuclear melting of buildings in the Pentagon. Okay, so both towers are hit. I'm watching this happen. I'm 21 years old, watching it happen. And I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? One plane had hit, and then all of a sudden another plane hits, and I'm like, oh my God. At the time, we didn't know what terrorism was. We didn't know. And all of a sudden, these planes, they have, thousands of gallons of gasoline or whatever type of fuel they use, which the fuel has been proven. It can't get hot enough to melt steel. It can't get hot enough to melt beams. Yet, the buildings seem to fall in what's called free fall speed. Free fall speed, as in there's no resistance, it just falls. So both buildings fell in on themselves without any resistance. And if you watch those videos as a critically thinking person, not someone who's spoon-fed what the media tells you to believe, you see these buildings actually just vaporizing as they're falling down. And so a critical thinking person watches that video, watches the towers explode. You see the buildings, the windows, boom, 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 exploding, coming down. You hear the firemen who are actually there saying, that's when I heard it bombing out. Boom, boom, bombs. You hear these things. You watch the video. Part of you has to say, something ain't right about this. I don't know if it was an inside job, but something's not right about that. It looks like, what do you say, a controlled demolition? Oh man, don't delete my channel. I really don't care. But it looks like a controlled demolition. Then you take into account another building, and God rest his soul, a friend of mine, Charles, used to work with me 5 years ago. Older guy. And we were talking about September 11th, and he's really, really old, and he believes everything that he hears on the news. And I told him, I said, what about the 3rd tower? And he was like, what do you mean? I said, the 3rd tower, building 7, it fell by itself. It didn't get hit by a plane. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, boy. I said, well, all right, Charles. And we decided to just end the conversation. Another building fell. They say that some gas from the planes, like 60 stories up, hit this building and caused this building, get this, to fall at free fall speed. These buildings were recently reappraised, and new insurance was put on them as well. So the person who actually owned the property, for some reason, didn't go to work, didn't allow his son to go to work in those buildings that day, and made untold tons of money on these buildings hitting the ground. But that's not talked about in the media at all. I'm not saying it was an inside job. I don't know that George Bush created this situation to go to war. A lot of people speculate that is what happened. I don't know. But I do know that doesn't happen if a plane hits a building. And it damn sure doesn't happen to the 3rd building. Is Alex Jones wrong to shine a light on the perspective and say that this is probably not what they're telling you in the media? Those kind of voices, they need to be heard. They need to be heard. And if we have technocrats deciding what speech is allowed and which speech isn't, then this becomes an authoritarian place where people who are unelected are telling. And now there are so many people on YouTube who might be on the right, or they might be channels that deal in conspiracy. They talk about UFOs, or they talk about Bigfoot. They talk about, government conspiracies and Donald Trump. These people are probably pissing their pants because now they know that with Alex Jones being ousted, all bets are off. The gloves are off. If you say something that we don't agree with here in the tech sector, you will be banned. You'll be banished. And so, is it good or bad? I just want to know. I want to know from you guys, do you think this is a slippery slope? I watched Paul Joseph Watson's video on it earlier, and he's right. This is the beginning of the end. Speech is protected. All speech is protected. There's no such thing as hate speech. It doesn't exist. People have words. Some words are better than others, but all these are protected. Violence is not. If anything, you should be banning these channels of people, groups like Antifa that want to go out there and hurt people. You got channels of people out there saying that, white privilege and the white man is the problem with America. I'm a black guy. I understand that there are injustices in America. But I also have white friends who've done nothing to no one. And they say, I'm the problem? And I'm like, I don't think that, man. I don't know what's going on. That's, wouldn't that be considered hate speech? But it's the patriarchy, so you can't. It's not hate speech. You can't be racist against a white person. I've heard so many idiots say that. That's pure racism. Why are these channels not banned? It's just so weird that the left-leaning agenda is allowed to go on freely. But as soon as someone says something that the tech sector and politicians don't agree with, there was a politician talking about Alex Jones a few weeks ago. I watched that Senate hearing. I was like, this guy is going after Alex Jones in particular. And he's talking to all these techies, and he wants to get Alex Jones banned. Mission accomplished. We'll see what happens. I'm happy I made this video. I really am. I was debating whether or not I should, but I'm happy I did. I like to come in and voice my opinion, but I want to know, really, guys, what you think. I know some of you are probably super happy Alex Jones is gone. Some of you might be very, very upset that he's gone. Let me know why. Do you really believe that speech shouldn't be protected? Do you really believe that a person's right to say what they feel, what they think is true, shouldn't be protected? Do you think that it's on these companies like Facebook and YouTube and Spotify that they have the right to remove content that they don't agree with? I think if you create a platform where people are supposed to be free to say and do what they want without breaking rules and guidelines, I think that free speech should be protected. You guys let me know what you think. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for hanging out with me. I think my wife's washing dishes. Doesn't know I'm making a video. It doesn't matter. There's probably only 1 or 2 people going to watch this anyway. I love you guys. I'm the Beastly Gamer, and I'll see you guys next time.